In NCIS Season 22, the Major Case Response Team (MCRT) suspects Gabrielle LaRoche, the newly appointed deputy director, is the mole within NCIS, potentially leaking information to the Nexus cartel. Their suspicion arises because LaRoche had access to sensitive classified intel and was the only person aware of Agent Nick Torres' undercover mission. However, while the evidence against LaRoche seems strong, there are hints that the team's conclusions might be premature. LaRoche's actions, such as denying McGee access to files, could simply reflect his role in overseeing investigations, not necessarily guilt. Furthermore, clues in later episodes suggest that the mole could be someone else, possibly even an overlooked NCIS staff member like maintenance worker Lennox Kincaid. The true identity of the mole remains uncertain as the investigation unfolds. Gabrielle LaRoche could be innocent in NCIS Season 22, here's why MCRT may be wrong about him. Alden Parker's Major Case Response Team believes that Gabrielle LaRoche is the mole in NCIS, but they could be wrong about their new deputy director. The quasi-villain was introduced in the NCIS Season 22 premiere when Timothy McGee called the Department of Justice Inspector General. Tim didn't know that LaRoche would best him for a promotion at the time, but they butted heads. McGee and LaRoche's odd encounter sets the tone for their mistrusting dynamic in NCIS Season 22 when the senior field agent requests all the files on the Nexus cartel and El Padre. LaRoche is ensnared in his work when he meets McGee. The DOJ inspector becomes NCIS deputy director at the end of the Season 22 premiere. Beyond that, though, LaRoche is investigating the titular agency in NCIS Season 22, Episode 1. Parker believes NCIS has an information leak after uncovering failed React raids on the Nexus cartel, and Inspector General LaRoche confirms his theory. MCRT also believes that someone blew Nick Torres' cover. Parker and the team solve how React intel got into the wrong hands, but MCRT still cannot fathom how Nick got made beyond their LaRoche connection. Why MCRT believes LaRoche is the mole. LaRoche has access to classified intel. Parker's MCRT suspects the deputy director could be the NCIS mole because Gabrielle LaRoche is the sole individual who knew NCIS had an undercover agent outside the bullpen. In the premiere, McGee explains to Parker that only one person, Inspector LaRoche, accessed NCIS classified operation report about Nick's case. The development leads Tim to believe that LaRoche is their mole. It doesn't help his conclusion that the IG denied McGee when the NCIS agent called LaRoche to garner access to the FBI, DA, and Homeland Security files detailing their open Nexus cartel investigations. When NCIS Director Leon Vance and his to-be deputy discuss the leak with the team leader, Inspector LaRoche informs Agent Parker that the DOJ believes an NCIS agent is feeding intel to the Nexus cartel. The development matches Casey's findings, giving the inspector's claim merit. Upon the development, McGee puts it together that the DOJ's investigation into NCIS is why the inspector denied his access to classified case files from neighboring agencies. LaRoche has access to hordes of sensitive information he allegedly protects, tipping off McGee that his budding nemesis is the perfect suspect. NCIS Season 22 has dropped hints that LaRoche may not be the mole. LaRoche acts friendly in NCIS Season 22, Episode 9. While McGee's claim adds up, Tim's conclusion about LaRoche being the NCIS mole could be premature. McGee's eagerness to believe that LaRoche is the bad guy could be due to tension in the premiere, with the men politely butting heads. McGee and LaRoche also have different approaches to justice, with LaRoche seemingly upholding the letter of the law and McGee thinking outside the lines. Their differences may be clouding Tim's judgment. In actuality, LaRoche denying a top NCIS agent access to Nexus cartel files makes sense, considering the DOJ's suspicion about an NCIS agent feeding intel to the criminal organization. When Vance personally reveals Tim didn't get the deputy director position, Leon tells McGee the Secretary of the Navy was adamant about hiring someone from outside NCIS. One interpretation of LaRoche's career move to NCIS deputy director is that the inspector feeds information to the Nexus cartel and wants more details from NCIS. However, that development doesn't make sense since LaRoche has access to FBI, DA, and Homeland Security files at the DOJ, making his position there more advantageous for a spy. In contrast, SecNav might have hired LaRoche to infiltrate NCIS and sniff out their mole. When Vance personally reveals Tim didn't get the deputy director position, Leon tells McGee the Secretary of the Navy was adamant about hiring someone from outside NCIS. If LaRoche isn't the mole, who could it be? Anyone in the NCIS bullpen. The NCIS holiday episode revealed 2 clues to the mole plot. NCIS Season 22, Episode 9, Humbug, finally saw the deputy director's return, showing the bureaucrat back in Washington after a 2-month overseas hiatus. While the newly minted deputy behaved suspiciously at times during the episode, he ultimately proved that he was, perhaps above all else, a stickler for rules. LaRoche makes Casey unplug her space heater, citing the fire code. Meanwhile, another suspect subtly emerges in Humbug, who has unbridled access to classified information without oversight. Yet, he flies under the team's radar. NCIS maintenance worker Lennox Kincaid may be another suspect in NCIS Season 22. He fiddles with the thermostat in Vance's office in Episode 9, overhearing sensitive intel. McGee's claim that LaRoche is the NCIS mole is flimsy, citing the deputy as the only person outside the room who knew about Nick. McGee's vague comment refers to the massive bullpen, where Parker took Agent Torres' call for help on speakerphone while Nick was undercover. Dozens of employees could have overheard details about Nick's cover, broadening the scope of what's possible in the mole case and the conclusion of NCIS Season 22.